obviously is a concern. So now we know the House has voted without opposition. I mean, when do you ever see this? 416-0 for a resolution to establish that bipartisan task force to investigate this assassination attempt. Tell us more, Congressman.
It was really a unique moment. I figured it would be a little more partisan, but to have a unanimous vote to establish the task force. But I think that underscores the seriousness of this situation and the breach and the failure of the Secret Service. And that, you know, the fact that this young man without really sophisticated training was able to pierce the bubble of the Secret Service makes Joe Biden less safe. It makes Kamala Harris less safe. It makes someone like President Obama less safe. And so bad actors in the world, whether they're lone operators or foreign countries like Iran or North Korea, see this and know that the Secret Service isn't the Secret Service of old. Now, as to whether or not you can trust the FBI, you look at the Hunter Biden laptop, we know they've breached the public trust. We know they can't, quite frankly, be trusted. And so you have now two storied institutions, the Secret Service and the FBI, that the American people no longer have faith in. That's a problem for our country, and it's a problem that's got to be fixed quickly, which is why we're doing the task force.
Congressman, it was a busy day yesterday on Capitol Hill. Bibi Netanyahu was on the Hill giving a speech. Just take a listen, and I'll get your thoughts on the other side of the clip.
For Iran, Israel is first, America is next. So when Israel fights Hamas, we're fighting Iran. When we fight Hezbollah, we're fighting Iran. When we fight the Houthis, we're fighting Iran. And when we fight Iran, we're fighting the most radical and murderous enemy of the United States of America. And one more thing. When Israel acts to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons that could destroy Israel and threaten every American city, every city that you come from, we're not only protecting ourselves, we're protecting you.
Obviously, a lot of protest outside the Capitol, but what's your thoughts on the speech yesterday and all the events that took place outside the Capitol as well?
Well, I thought Netanyahu did a fantastic job. He hit all the high points. He, underscored the special relationship the United States and Israel that we have with one another. And he underscored the threat to the region and by extension, by attacking Israel, they're attacking us because, again, I've said it many times, Israel is the tip of the spear when it comes to intelligence gathering in the region. I literally this morning was getting a briefing on the Houthis and their activities and now the broader threat that they pose to the region because of their drone capabilities. I serve as the chairman of the Counterterrorism Caucus. And so with that information, we'll look at next steps. What do we do as a country with our other allied partners to push back against the Houthis, to put them in a box, because again, whether it's commerce, whether it's Israel, whether it's Saudi Arabia or the UAE, they are now a broader threat to the region to destabilize the region, and then that's what they do. They're terrorists, they're about chaos, they're about instilling fear. And so Netanyahu hit all of those points, obviously without going into any national security details, but it underscored. Now, what was stark about this is that you have the Republicans, we applauded him, again, a strategic ally, and many of the Democrats sat in their seats. And it was really disrespectful. Kamala Harris didn't show up. It was disrespectful. So this shows you really who stands up and is fighting for the Jewish community is the Republican Party.
Yeah. Congressman, I want to talk about the articles of impeachment you filed against Kamala Harris. I want to do that momentarily, but since you just mentioned that you just had a briefing, there's new reporting out this morning saying that a couple of Chinese bombers and a couple of Russian bombers had to be intercepted, if you will, just outside of Alaska. All of that happening right around the time President Biden was speaking. The implication there is that Russia and China see weakness, and so they're trying us. What can you tell us about that, if anything? Have you been briefed on that situation?
Well, I mean, we've seen this play out, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, whether it's the situation in Haiti or Niger, or again, the saber rattling with China versus Taiwan. Biden is perceived as weak. You can look at to his G7 moment where he literally wanders off into the field and they have to kind of gather him back up. So the bullies of the world are watching, and they realize and recognize that Donald Trump is about to be the next president. So if they're going to do something, if they're going to flex their muscle, if they're going to kind of, show their strength to their own people, now is the moment in time. I'm quite frankly surprised we haven't had a terrorist attack in this country because of the weakness of Joe Biden, because of all of the terrorists that he has willingly led into this country. We are less safe here domestically and abroad because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
And Congressman, before we go, you just filed articles of impeachment against Kamala Harris. Tell us more about why you believe this needs to happen. I'm looking at the clock. I got about 20 seconds or so, 25 seconds.
Well, it's quite simple. She is the border czar. She is the one that was in charge of putting forward policies to protect the American people. Fentanyl has flooded our streets. We have 12, 13, and 14-year-old girls being targeted by illegals, literally being targeted and raped. We had one that was just murdered in Texas. And so she is responsible for this. So my articles of impeachment, if you go to page 3, line 11, starts to lay out some of those crimes that occurred under her watch. Those little girls, those families, their lives are forever shattered because of Kamala Harris is inept. She's incompetent, and she does not deserve to be in the White House.
Congressman Ogles, as a congressman, to keep it to 25 seconds, that is impressive. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.